For I serve a far nobler cause than mere profit, just like my brothers.
But there are herbs, mixtures, and extracts. My guards are proof of this. They were madmen before I found and freed them from the prisons of their own minds.
Do they strike you as proper slaves? Unfit for even the most menial tasks? No. I took them not to sell, but to save. And yet you'd kill us all. For no other reason than it was asked of you.
Everything I did to prepare them for the new world. Stole their food? No. I took possession so that when the lean times came, it might be rationed properly.
How could I finance a war in service to the same god that calls me an abomination?
Not so innocent. Dissident voices cut deep as steel. They disrupt order. In this, I do agree with the Brotherhood.
Freed it, you fool, from the tyranny of faith.
Is it not ancient scrolls that inspire the Crusaders? That fill Salah ad-Din and his men with a sense of righteous fury? Their texts endanger others.
The only difference between your master and I is that he did not want to share.
Destroy the only thing capable of ending the Crusades and creating true peace? Never.
Robert de Sable is the 11th Grandmaster of the Knights Templar. And today, on Assassin's Creed and the Templar cause, we have finally gotten to him. The big cheese himself. Now, his cast of supporting characters have been quite the mixed bag of interesting, odd, and straight up sociopathic. But these men were just pieces to the puzzle Robert was trying to assemble. The alleged mastermind of the Levantine Templar scheme, Robert presents a very interesting villain in Assassin's Creed. I figure we should talk a little bit about his background, what he's like in the game, and make some sort of judgment on him. Okay, with that out of the way, here we go. Robert de Sable is the 11th Grandmaster of the Knights Templar and was born in 1151. His family was quite powerful in the Kingdom of France, and because of this, he became the lord and ruler of the Sarthe region in Anjou. He joined with the Templar Order and quickly reached his peak just as the Third Crusade was getting underway. Robert ascended to the rank of Grand Master in 1191 and made it the Order's mission to track down and recover the Apple of Eden from the ruins of Solomon's Temple in Jerusalem. Knowing its strange power, Robert thought it prudent to capture this device amidst the Third Crusade and use the conflict to shield his plans. Once the apple was retrieved and his men were in place, Robert planned to turn on the Crusaders, overthrow both sides of the conflict, and establish a new world order in the Holy Land. The Apple of Eden would ensure little resistance, while his network of powerful traders would supply an army, weapons, money, supplies, and hinder their enemies even further. And when Assassin's Creed starts, he is perilously close to achieving this goal. The Templars have almost everything they need to launch their new plan, until Al-Mualim strikes. Robert had aligned the Templars with the Assassin Order's mentor in order to help smooth the path towards domination in the Holy Land, but he miscalculated, and Al-Mualim sent Altair and 2 others to steal the apple for himself. We join the game as Robert fails his final task and loses out on that very apple. From this point on, we as players actively undo all of Robert's work by killing his well-positioned collaborators. By the time we begin our hunt for the man himself, Robert has decided on a final Hail Mary. But before we uncover what this new plan is, players confront a lookalike instead.
We gather here to mourn the loss of our beloved Majd-ud-Din. Taken too soon from this world. I know you feel sorrow and pain at his passing. But you should not. For just as we are all brought forth from the womb, so too must we all one day pass from this world. It is only natural, like the rising and the setting of the sun. Take this moment to reflect on his life and give thanks for all the good he did. Know that one day you will stand with him again in paradise.
Amen.
As you know, this man was murdered. We have tried to track his killer, but it has proved difficult. These creatures cling to the shadows and run from any who would face them fairly. But not today, for it seems one stands among us. He mocks us with his presence and must be made to pay. Seize him! Bring him forward, that God's justice might be done!
I would see your eyes before you die.
I sense you expected someone else.
What sorcery is this?
No sorcery. We knew you'd come. Robert needed to be sure he'd have time to get away.
So he flees.
We cannot deny your success. You have laid waste to our plans. First the treasure, then our men. Control of the Holy Land slipped away. But then he saw an opportunity to reclaim what has been stolen, to turn your victories to our advantage.
Al-Muallim still holds your treasure, and we've routed your army before. Whatever Robert plans, he'll fail again.
Ah, but it's not just Templars you'll contend with now.
Speak sense.
Robert rides for Asa to plead his case that Saracen and Crusader unite against the Assassins.
That will never happen. They have no reason to.
Had, perhaps. But now you've given them one. 9, in fact. The bodies you've left behind, victims on both sides. You've made the Assassins an enemy in common and ensured the annihilation of your entire order. Well done.
Not 9. 8.
What do you mean?
You are not my target. I will not take your life. You're free to go, but do not follow me.
I don't need to. You're already too late.
We'll see.
Well, that didn't go exactly to plan. And it seems as though Robert is a bit more of a challenge than the others, and we got quite the talking to from Maria there. She reveals that Robert's new plan is to use the deaths of his agents on both sides of the Third Crusade forces to unite the Saracens and Crusaders against the Assassins, which blew my mind on my first playthrough, to be honest. Quite the savvy play, and it leads to Altair hunting down Robert on the field of battle. In this next sequence, we will hear a bit about Robert's defense, but to be honest, his clip is much more about the reveal of the last secret Templar, Al-Muallim. Let's listen on to that confrontation with Robert and go from there.
Come no further. Hold a moment. It's words I bring, not steel.
Offering terms of surrender then. It's about time.
You misunderstand. It's Al-Muallim who sends me, not Salah ad-Din.
Assassin! What is the meaning of this? And be quick with it!
You've a traitor in your midst.
And he has hired you to kill me? Come to gloat about it before you strike? I won't be taken so easily!
It's not you I've come to kill. It's him.
Speak then, that I may judge the truth. Who is this traitor?
Robert de Sable.
My lieutenant!
He aims to betray.
That's not the way he tells it. He seeks revenge against your people for the havoc you've wrought in Acre. And I am inclined to support him. Some of my best men were murdered by some of yours.
It was I who killed them, and for good reason. Hear me out. William of Montferrat. He sought to use his soldiers to take Acre by force. Gagné de Naplouse. He would use his skills to indoctrinate and control any who resisted. Sabrand. He intended to block the ports, preventing your kingdom from providing aid. They betrayed you, and they took their orders from Robert.
You expect me to believe this outlandish tale?
You knew these men, better than I. Are you truly surprised to learn of their ill intentions?
Is this true?
My liege, it is an assassin that stands before us. These creatures are masters of manipulation. Of course it isn't true.
I've no reason to deceive.
Oh, but you do. You're afraid of what will happen to your little fortress. Can it withstand the combined might of the Saracen and the Crusader armies?
My concern is for the people of the Holy Land. If I must sacrifice myself for there to be peace, so be it.
This is a strange place we find ourselves in. Each of you accusing the other.
There really is no time for this. I must be off to meet with Saladin and enlist his aid. The longer we delay, the harder this will become.
Hold a moment, Robert.
Why? What do you intend? Surely you do not believe him?
It is a difficult decision, one I cannot make alone. I must leave it in the hands of one wiser than I.
Thank you.
No, Robert, not you.
Then who?
The Lord. Let this be decided by combat. Surely God will side with the one whose cause is righteous.
If this is what you wish.
It is.
So be it. To arms, assassin!
It's done then. Your schemes, like you, are put to rest.
You know nothing of schemes. You're but a puppet. He betrayed you, boy. Just as he betrayed me.
Speak sense, Templar. Or not at all.
9 men he sent you to kill, yes? The 9 who guarded the treasure's secret.
What of it?
It wasn't 9 who found the treasure, assassin. Not 9, but 10.
A 10th? None may live who carry the secret. Give me his name.
Oh, but you know him well. And I doubt very much you'd take his life as willingly as you've taken mine.
Who?
It is your master, Al-Mualim.
But he is not a Templar.
Did you never wonder how it is he knew so much? Where to find us, how many we numbered, what we aspired to attain?
He is the master of the assassins.
Oui, master of lies. You and I just 2 more pawns in his grand game. And now, with my death, only you remain. Do you think he'll let you live, knowing what you do?
I've no interest in the treasure.
Ah, but he does. The only difference between your master and I is that he did not want to share.
No.
Ironic, isn't it? That I, your greatest enemy, kept you safe from harm. But now you've taken my life, and in the process, ended your own.
A lot to take in there. We'll deal with Al-Mualim later. For now, Robert's defense. Aside from the absolute truth bombs Robert drops in this conversation, Robert attempts to make the argument that can basically be broken down into, at least I wasn't like your mentor. Which is a shame for one of the most intelligent and well-spoken characters in the game. So we're going to have to touch on what the other characters talk about to get Robert's full vision and then assume some things from there. Robert and his men sought 3 things: peace in the Holy Land, complete order, and the dissolution of all allegiances except to the Templar Order. In order to achieve these goals, Robert sought to control districts of major cities through power and force, created anti-Saracen and anti-Crusader plots within these cities, and attempted to get control of the message to the people. Because of his orders, the people of Acre, Damascus, and Jerusalem suffered at the hand of his lackeys. Vulnerable citizens were captured, brainwashed, and trained, money was stolen, scholars and books were burned, and the entire Holy Land was under threat because of Robert. This doesn't mean some of their end goals weren't good. Peace in the Holy Land, that's what everyone wants. But it does show that Robert and his plan was far too brutal to be worthwhile. So where does that leave Robert? Well, there are probably worse individuals within this game, but Robert allows creeps to abuse power and abuse the populace. As the head of the Templar Order, Robert can never escape its sins. The Saracens and the Crusaders are full of their own issues, but these don't excuse the Templars' horribleness. And so, though Robert is indeed willing to share, unlike Al-Mualim, he shouldn't share too much of the blame, because he is responsible for quite the large amount of horrible acts. And that does it. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you liked the video. There will be more Assassin's Creed content coming up, so look forward to that.
Yes, I am well aware. Then I'll take my leave. My master and I have much to discuss. It seems that even he is not without fault.
He is only human, as are we all. You as well.
Safety and peace be upon you.